Alright, it's been a minute since I uploaded, but in this video I'm going to be doing Should You Mean Trickster. This could be the second episode in this series. Last time I did Nemesis, so this one we're just going to go over Trickster. I'm going to use the same criteria as I did with Nemesis, fun, skill ceiling, all that stuff. And let's just start off with going through what the Trickster actually does. The Trickster's power is called Showstopper. You start with 44 blades, and you press the button whichever platform you're on, it's LT on Xbox, to enter the through state. When you're in this through state, you move at a reduced movement speed and you can begin to throw blades. You throw blades pretty fast, about 3 per second, and it ramps up to about 4. Landing a blade will increase the survivor's laceration meter. Once you land 6 blades, you'll injure them or down them. After landing 30 blades, you have an activation window for main event. So after landing your 30 blades, for the next 30 seconds, you can press the activation button and you'll go into main event. It takes half a second and you'll start to throw blades automatically at about 5 blades per second, and you'll never run out. And that's basically Trickster's power. There's not really much to it. He's quite a simple killer. So how strong is the Trickster? Well, the Trickster's actually sort of fluctuated in terms of strength quite a bit. Currently, Trickster is not very strong. Actually, not too long ago there, probably about a week ago I think it was, he actually could be quite strong with the two add-ons I mentioned, the Cut Through You single and the Edge of Revival add-on. When you combine these two, you actually could down people or injure them in 4 blades, which is pretty significant. Plus, survivors didn't have iframes when they were being unhooked, which means you're a very good camper. This was completely changed, and now those add-ons don't combine together, so Trickster did take quite a big nerf there. And to be honest, I don't think Trickster's in a very good state right now. I think he's quite weak. I'd almost argue that he's weaker now than he was before this sort of rework that he got. I actually think this is probably the weakest the Trickster's been, other than, his initial release. I think Trickster with Fistbin Soda and Melodious Murder pre changes was actually stronger than the Trickster we have now. The problem with Trickster at the minute in terms of strength is that he's got his ability which allows you to do nothing but end chases faster. He's got an anti-loop ability, but his anti-loop ability just doesn't even compare to killers like Deathsinger or even Hunters. You need to land 6 blades, you need to land them within a short duration each other or they'll start to decay, and you will last 6 blades to injured, and this just takes so long. You can be ran around small obstacles like 5 times and you can't even throw any blades. If the loop doesn't favour you, you have to play as a one-time killer. There's just so many issues with Trickster's chase, and that's all he has. He's got no mobility, no stealth, no slowdown, and he just doesn't work. He's not like Deathsinger. If you compare these two killers, Deathsinger's gun is significantly better than Trickster's knives, but they're both one-time killers, so Deathsinger is just superior in every way. Not to mention how little snowball Trickster has. You need to land 6 bleeds to injure, 6 bleeds more to down them, so that's 12 bleeds. That takes, I don't care like how open the survivor is, that can take you a significant amount of time. Assuming the survivor's dodging a wee bit, maybe gets behind an obstacle, it can take like 20 or 30 seconds just to land these 12 blades. And that's terrible for his snowball. Not to mention the nerf that they gave him, now he only has 44 blades at base. You've got no chance of even downing 2 survivors. You just don't have enough blades. You barely have enough blades to down 1 survivor, assuming you're going for, ambitious hits and stuff like that, spamming your blades. You barely have enough to down 1 survivor. You have absolutely no chance of getting more than 1 survivor down. You'll just have to reload, and this is where Trickster's problem is. Not just is his chase not very good, especially in a lot of maps. He has absolutely no way to snowball. People say Deathsinger can't snowball. Deathsinger can snowball. If you've got people injured as Deathsinger, you can get them from, 18 meters away and immediately down them. That is snowball potential. Trickster just can't do that. He's not good at that. So how fun is it to play Trickster? Obviously fun is entirely subjective. I can't stop reiterating this. Just because personally I find the killer fun or unfun doesn't mean that's going to be the case for everyone. But I'd say you can have quite a bit of fun playing Trickster. I always find it quite fun as Trickster to try and get these supreme combos and stuff like that. Getting to play different audio cues. I always think that's fun. Trying to land like 20 bleeds in a row and stuff like that. It's pretty damn fun. Not to mention it's incredibly satisfying if survivors out in the open to just pelt them with like 12 bleeds in a row. It really does feel really good. But there are some downsides to Trickster's fun, like you'll see that gems will fly, you won't really be able to win that many games if survivors are good, and he's quite map reliant, so if you get indoor maps and stuff, you're not going to have the best time. Let's look at Trickster's skill ceiling. I think Trickster is just so underrated in terms of how hard he is to play. So many people say Trickster is an easy killer to play, and that is so far from the truth. On console, at least, in my opinion, Trickster is the hardest killer to game in the game to play on console. And I don't even think it's close. I think he's way harder than Nurse, I think he's way harder than Blight, and I think he's way harder than Deathsinger. And that's to master. To master this killer is incredibly difficult. It is so hard to aim his blades on console. You have the exact same 100% sensitivity that you use while you're aiming, meaning to make micro adjustments to survivors' movements is incredibly hard. Then you have to track them. You have to adjust for recoil. You know, you have to. There's low FPS. The hitboxes are jank. You know, the blades are tiny. Like it's so hard to hit these blades. Like, and you'll see sometimes in these clips, I'll be missing survivors running a completely straight line just because I over adjust a wee bit. It's just so difficult. On PC, I'm sure it's significantly easier, but I'm sure it's still pretty difficult. And I'm talking about to land a lot of your knives. I'm talking like if you want like an 80% accuracy rate, that's incredibly hard. People think, oh, Trickster's easy if I land, 20% of my blades. Yeah, it's easy to land 20% of your blades, but you're still going to lose, and your chases are going to be twice as long because you don't have good accuracy. People think just because you can down someone as Trickster in a minute, missing a ton of your blades, that makes them easy. No, that doesn't make them easy. You would have downed them in 20 seconds if you were good with your blades. So I think Trickster is incredibly hard to play, and definitely rewarding to learn. If you get really good with them, that is. Now let's look at perk synergies. Unfortunately, Trickster really doesn't have any special perk synergies. He uses his blades, meaning you don't want to use perks that apply on basic attacks, which is so many, save the best for last. Sloppy Butcher, Surge, all these types of perks, exposed effect perks, you don't want to use in Trickster. You also don't want to use perks like Tinker because you sort of need a little bit extra mobility or at least 115 speed to make use of Tinker, so you don't want to be doing stuff like that. I'd say on Trickster your best bet is just to stack on slowdown to make up for your lack of jam pressure. So things like Pop Goes the Weasel, Ruin, Undying, No Way Out, Corrupt Intervention, stuff like that to try and slow the game down as much as you possibly can. But other than that, there's really nothing special you want to use in this killer. And lastly, we have map reliance, and I think Trickster is very map reliant. Indoor maps, RPD, Hawkins, which is going to be reducing anyway, but Larry's the game, stuff like that, really bad for Trickster, because not just do you get bad line of sight, so you can't even land that many blades, but if you land like 5 blades, one off laceration, and they just hold corners and keep running around these walls, they'll decay their blades, which is terrible for you. Not to mention some maps can have really bad high wall loops, lots of very high wall loops, sort of like the one I'm playing on right now, which is pretty bad for you because if they just stick tight to these loops, they'll be able to have really good chases against you every time. So I do think Trickster is quite map reliant. So should you main the Trickster? In my opinion, at the minute, I think if you really want to, yeah, you should main the Trickster. If you want to put a ton of effort into him, get extremely good with the blades, I'd say go for it. Not many people main this killer, and he's quite hard to play. His high skill set means that if you do main him, you will stand out from the average player who plays Trickster. And I think maybe some people might show his true potential, which I think might be a bit high, but I think we'll have to see. But yeah, I think you probably should be in Trickster if you really want to at the minute, but I wouldn't expect really good results from him. So that's all from this video. Next video is going to be the twins. I'm not sure when I'm going to do Pinhead, but it will be in the future. Thanks for watching.